We're going to kick things off, though, with your first MMA fight of the night at a catch weight of 215 pounds, brought to you by Chips Transmission. Please welcome to the cage first, fighting under the Hog's red corner, Dustin Johnson.
All right, first out is Dustin Johnson out of that Death Row MMA camp in Grundy County, Tennessee, in this amateur MMA bout. Dustin Johnson, 1-3 in his career as a 21-year-old amateur bout here. Dustin Johnson stands at 6'3". Tell us a little bit about Dustin, Casey.
Well, he's from Death Row MMA, so that says something, right? You know, he is 1-3. He's known to be a brawler, come out and fight. He likes to bang, you know, and, you know, he's shown to have an Achilles heel in regards to the submissions. He's going to have to watch out for that because he's facing a guy in Robbie Long out of Team Chaos, you know, who, you know, Team Chaos, of course, headed up by Josh Cade, a BJJ black belt, a tremendous one at that. So, you know, Dustin Johnson, he needs to make it a dirty fight, an ugly fight, and that's going to be his best chance here. Yeah,
that triangle choke submission was at Apex Fight 7 to Chris Cash, as you mentioned, and then he took fight on only 6 days notice after Anthony Stone had pulled out, so you got to give him credit for that. But Dustin Johnson at 1-3, the 21-year-old. He'll come out in a moment, but let's talk a little bit about Robbie Long and what you see from his opponent tonight out of that Team Chaos D1 MMA camp.
Well, you know, as I mentioned, Josh Cade, a tremendous coach. Originally, Robbie Long came from my neck of the woods in the Tri-Cities from Team Ludus, of course, which disbanded a few months back. And Robbie Long took up with Josh and Team Chaos. And Josh, I was listening to Full Frontal MMA this week, and he said that he's improved tremendously. So I'm anxious to see that here.
We'll talk more about Robbie Long in a moment as Dustin Johnson is in the cage. Let's go back to the cage to introduce his opponent. Here's Cody Gwynn.
Now, please welcome his opponent, fighting under the OEB blue corner, Robbie Long.
So Robbie Long at 3-2 from right here in Knoxville, and you hear the round of applause for the 23-year-old who is 6'2", and Robbie Long, the opponent for Dustin Johnson. Tell us a little bit more about Robbie. You were saying, Case.
Well, you know, like I said, he was training out of Team Ludus there in the Tri-Cities, and you know, Josh had mentioned that he got his hands on him and he's been able to work with him. You know, he's a college football player, which goes a long way. You know, another college football player from around these parts, Ovan St. Preux, he's made it big. So, you know, football players are known for the workouts they have to go through, and so they're tremendous athletes. I'm anxious to see more from him tonight.
Take a look at the tail of the tape. You see the better record for Robbie Long at 3-2 as opposed to Dustin Johnson's 1-3. Robbie Long is 2 years older than Dustin Johnson. The height, 2 inches height advantage for Robbie Long, and then the weight. Dustin Johnson weighed in a little bit over that 215, and Robbie Long a little bit under.
You telling me that guy is 21 years old?
Yeah, I'm with you. He looks older than that.
Yeah, he looks like he's about 35 years old, man. You know, tough-looking guy, though. You know, he's a big dude. Looks like he probably knows his way around a hunting rifle as well. He's got the camouflage on.
So Robbie Long, you mentioned a college football player last time out, lost by submission to Alan Stewart at Valor Fights 13. That was back in May of 2014. Strong, athletic, as you would expect a former college football player to be, and we'll see if the Team Chaos camp makes a difference for Robbie Long. Robbie Long also before the Alan Stewart bout, he beat Nick Braswell, Aaron Lee, and Samson Webb, and lost his first amateur bout to Taylor Watson. So we're ready for official fighter introductions. Here is Cody Gwynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, your opening MMA bout tonight is brought to you by Chips Transmission and will be at a catch weight of 215 pounds. When the action begins, your referee for this bout will be Jimmy Neely. Introducing first, Fighting out of the Hogs red corner. Tonight he enters the cage with a record of 1 win with 3 defeats. He weighed in 216 pounds. Fighting out of Death Row MMA in Grundy County, Tennessee, Dustin Johnson. Standing across the cage tonight, fighting out of the OEB blue corner. He enters the cage tonight with a record of 3 wins with 2 defeats. He weighed in 207 pounds. Fighting out of D1 MMA and Chaos in Knoxville, Tennessee, Robbie, the Tasmanian Devil Long.
Jimmy Neely, our referee, as we're ready for our first MMA bout of the night. Dustin Johnson in the camo trunks taking on Robbie Long in the black and yellow trunks in this catchweight bout at 215 pounds, 3 2-minute round, 3-minute rounds, and we are underway.
And look at this, man. Dustin Johnson looked like he just crawled off of a bar stool. He closes the distance quick, and he's making this fight dirty just like I said he needed to.
Robbie Long, one of 11 Knoxville fighters on this Valor Fights 27 card tonight. A lot of camps, 6 of them represented, and 11 different fighters, and he has got the crowd behind him. But early on, it has been Dustin Johnson with the advantage.
Wow, did you see that? Robbie Long moves out of the way of a punch, and Dustin Johnson lands it right there in the fracture corner.
Smothering Robbie Long so far. What would you like to see from Long here was up against the cage?
You know, what he's doing is he's having to let Dustin Johnson run a little bit. You know, I mean, Johnson's not really doing anything in particular. He's just being wild, and that kind of explosive energy is not going to last throughout the duration of a fight. I think that Robbie Long is showing good composure. He's chilling for a little bit. He's going to come on strong here shortly, but you still got to watch out for those shots because Dustin Johnson is certainly winging him here.
Yeah, and Robbie Long tried to respond, but I don't know if any of those connected.
Looking for the guillotine. Dustin Johnson previously susceptible to submission holds. The guillotine might be an option here.
Yeah, it looked like he was going for it. He let it go.
Here we go. Does he know how to defend it? That's the question.
Can Robbie Long?
Now Robbie Long cranking it in there. Now that being said, Robbie Long's not been in the cage in over a year. So there's going to be a little ring rust there. You know, your adrenaline tries to drop on you. So it may take a second for him to kick it in gear.
Dustin Johnson had the wrist control, but Long got out of it. Now he's raining down some shots to the side of Johnson. Johnson in the camo, Long in the black and yellow.
It doesn't appear as though Dustin Johnson is in any trouble there for that submission yet. But the guillotine you've got to watch out for. Here we go. Looking to sink it.
Yep, and he lost.
That's it. Goodbye.
Wow, there it is. Robbie Long from Knoxville.
Just as I assumed there, like I mentioned, he came out early, swinging hard, doing what he did, but it was only a matter of time, man. He cooled off, and Robbie Long was there to take it home.
Yeah, I don't know if it was fatigue or what, but Dustin Johnson, when Robbie Long let go of the neck, that was his opportunity to get up, and he stayed leaned over. I don't know if it's fatigue or what that was.
Yeah, like I said, he was just, he was wild, sporadic. He was hopping all over the place.
Yep.
Dangerous for a short period of time. Like a bull in a china shop.
So, Robbie Long will get the win for our official decision. Let's go back to the cage and Cody Gwynn.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Jimmy Neely has called a stop to this fight. 2 minutes and 27 seconds into the first round. Your winner by submission via standing guillotine choke out of the blue corner, Robbie, the Tasmanian Devil